The idea to get you together today is to talk a little bit about some of the issues and some of the great things about this library and some of the ways that we can make it better, and we've been working to make it better. And so I think it would be probably helpful to start out by just asking the question, you know, what are some great things about this library? What do we value about this library? And that's a real question. So what are some things that are important about this space for this program?
The faculty have access to materials, and they don't have to go all the way to Joyner to get them.
Right, so you don't have to go halfway across
Right.
campus to get the materials you need for classes. That's a great point. Any other thoughts?
That's my favorite, is access and location.
Access and location. One of the things that I recognize coming in and going through all these materials now is that there's just a lot of great stuff. Like, there are good materials. There's not a lot of fluff. You know, it's good, solid resourcing for the instructors to use in the place right here and have access to. I guess the other question would be then, what are the challenges that we have faced as a library? Or what are the challenges that this particular library has faced?
A checkout system for the materials.
Yeah.
And trying to keep up with everything, because the old system, we had to write down the title of every book that was checked out. And it wasn't even such that you would know if it was a little text or a picture book or a big book. You pretty much wrote the title down when you checked it out, when you checked it back in. And it's a lot if you're checking out a lot of books for a class.
Right, so just checking out one book, you had to fill out several lines of text by hand, and if you were going to check out 5 or 6 or 10 books, it was, yeah, if you look down through there, there's a lot of...
It's tedious.
Yes, a lot of tedious notes in that checkout system. I think that was the biggest thing that I saw. When I came here, whoops, we are right at the end. We're done. Sorry, let me go all the way back to the beginning. I was making a change to it, and there it is. So when I came into the library, the first two things I thought about were questions that I would ask in any library. And they're questions about usefulness and usability. Those are two different things. Usefulness, of course, is what's in the library. Is the collection adequate? Is the collection usable? Is the collection adequate? Is the collection full of things that are actually used by the instructors here in this department? And then the second question is usability. Can you get to those materials? And can you get them easily? And can you get them in and out of the library easily? The types of resources that we really have here are pretty much commensurate with most major college curriculum libraries, School of Education libraries. We have picture books. And we have a lot of picture books. Even though it's only one shelf, there are probably 1,000 picture books on that shelf. We have our chapter books over there. We have the level readers that are right behind you. And then we have evaluation and teaching aids. So far, the evaluation and teaching aids aren't cataloged. They're not part of our system. But I think that's a thing to put into the future. Right now, we've been working on cataloging and getting a sense of what the chapter books are, the picture books, the big books, the level books. And they are the primary resources that get used here. We do have a couple other professional things that we have to think about how we use them. But almost every curriculum library that I looked into had the same sort of issues with access. They had useful material, but the usability of the curriculum library was a little off. One of those things is unorganized resources. No matter how well-meaning people are when they reshelve things and bring them back, it's almost inevitable that things will get reshelved sometimes in the wrong place. And a misshelved book is a lost book to a librarian. And so one of the things that I found going through all the resources was that a lot of things were just in the wrong place. And when they got kind of put in the right place, they're a little bit more usable. One of the things that we first looked at here in this curriculum library was the outdated resources, the basal resources that were text resources for a state, to meet state requirements. And some of those resources were so old that they just weren't helpful anymore, and they were just taking up space. So we've we've taken out a lot of those resources and reallocated our space to be a little bit more usable. And the other thing is missing resources. Again, no matter how well-meaning people are when they take out a chunk of books, it's not hard for one or two of those books to end up on a desk, under a pile of papers, or on a shelf, and those books just go missing. And so we're trying to kind of solve some of these problems that most curriculum libraries are also trying to solve. The thing that was mentioned right at the beginning was we just need some method of checking things out. That's really a way to solve a lot of the problems, I think. And the single biggest challenge for us here at this curriculum library is the sort of lack of accountability about those books. We had that thing where you could write down each of those books, but I spoke with a few people over the first few weeks I was here, and everyone's response to how they use this library was a little different. It was either, well, sometimes I just take the books and bring them back, and I don't bother to check them out. Or sometimes I take the books and I keep a list of them in my own office, but no one knows what that list is but me, you know. And so everyone kind of had their own version of how they check books out, and that's just a way to kind of court entropy. Things just sort of start falling apart. And so we wanted to try and think of a way to increase the accountability on those things and to put some structure around it. So what do we have? If any library that exists, the core purpose is always to provide access to resources and to be able to search those resources so that you can know what you have and know how to get to them. And one of the things that we wanted to look at in this curriculum library is coming up with a catalog. The catalog that existed in previous generations was sort of an Excel spreadsheet list of books that was more or less accurate for some level of the books, but they weren't all on there, and the ones that were on there, you know, some of them were gone, and so that wasn't really helpful for us. But a catalog for us needs to be thorough. It needs to have everything on it. It needs to be user-friendly. So not an Excel spreadsheet that sticks in here and no one can get to except for when they come in here and go down through the spreadsheet. It needs to be searchable because we have a lot of resources. As I mentioned earlier, just on those 3 shelves, there are 1,400 resources. so overall, we probably have closer to 3,500 to 4,000 resources in these 2 rooms that we can have, and it's a lot easier to find what you want if you can search. Also, the catalog for us needs to be something that's accurate and it's updated. So again, an Excel spreadsheet's only as updated as the last time you printed it out. And so we want something that's current and that keeps moving along with the library. So the question is, what kind of catalog makes sense for us? I had conversations with Joiner Library and some of their tech solutions over there and some of their librarians. And the general idea was that we couldn't really piggyback off of what they were doing. Part of that was because if they added these to their catalog, there would be no one over here to receive them and to reshelve them, and they're off-site, and so it's a whole issue. In 2002, a couple of librarians at Seton Hall had a curriculum library about this size to deal with and to ask some questions about how they did it. Most curriculum libraries are organized by type, the way we have here. But there they started thinking about the catalog too. How do we catalog these resources? And they realized that it didn't make sense to do the sort of full-fledged cataloging that they do in the main library. They needed something that was on-site, something that was, in fact, web-based. As you know, this is almost 18 years later, and we realize that the web is in full effect now. And so there are so much better options in front of us right now for online public access systems, for library management systems, and so putting all that together. Thank you for indulging me in all this background stuff. Putting all of that together, it's really kind of laying the groundwork for what we're doing and why we're doing it. We realized pretty early on in our conversations about this library, this space, that we needed something that was cloud-based, that wasn't tied to a particular piece of technology sitting in this room, that wasn't tied to a server that needed to be updated, or a server that needed to be maintained, or a computer that someone needed to turn on and update, and those kind of things. It needed to be cloud-based. It needed to exist off-site, but be accessible from anywhere. Something that was self-service. So again, something, if you don't have a person in this room maintaining something, it needs to be pretty easy to maintain itself for it to be used in that way. And also, again, easy to use. That refrain keeps coming back. Easy to use, because we had a checkout system before. It wasn't easy to use, and so it's no good if it's not easy to use. If no one wants to use it, no one's going to use it. So, here's our answer. After, all right, the sky opens, the light comes down. Here's our answer. Several other curriculum libraries at universities have implemented this same solution, and it's elegant and it works, and so that's where we started looking. The app, the interface is called LIBS, and it's a cloud-based small library management system. You can download a free version of this and catalog your home library if you want to. You can.
I do want to do that.
You can.
I do. In my office library.
Yeah, right. You can. So it's a free well, it's free at a basic level if you want to do your own personal library. If you want to start doing things like barcoding and circulation, then it's a nominal yearly fee to upgrade, and we are upgraded to that pro level. But it's a way to create and share your collection. It's even got some social networking elements where other members can see what's in your library and vice versa. And so there's a little bit of interactivity going on with LIBS. There's some distinct advantages that this software gives us, and again, it's a fraction of the cost of a library management system that is in use over at Joiner. Some definite advantages are that it allows us to catalog. Every resource in here can be cataloged. And a lot of that cataloging is something called copy cataloging, where if you scan the barcode on the back or type in the ISBN number, it'll pull up from other libraries that information that has been entered somewhere else. So it crowdsources that. And so 90% of the cataloging is copy cataloging. You just have to enter the information and make sure it's accurate and go. About 10% is original cataloging, where you have to enter the information from the book. And that's great for maintenance, because that means once the curriculum library is cataloged, any new books can be easily just brought on board, and it takes a fraction of the time that it would otherwise. Also, it allows you patron management. So up here is where you would add items, down here is where you add patrons. And so you can select a few people that are patrons of your library. It's just like getting a library card at your local public library. But here you get access by us adding your email to a patron list. And if you're on that patron list, we'll talk about this in a second, you can log in and you can do a lot of it from either an app or from your computer at home. It also gives us library management tools. So every time a resource is added, it gives us all the information about that resource. It tells us how many copies we have. Copies are discretely cataloged, so each one has its own barcode. It allows us to add and delete, keep track of the condition of books if you really want to do that. It also allows us to generate reports about which books are being used over the course of a year. So if we had any questions about what uses are, or what resources are most useful to us, we really can just ask those questions from the software. And also, this is the big one for us, allows us to circulate. So books have been circulating from this library in different ways, but it allows us to circulate in a really uniform way that's really easy to participate in. From the patron side, the interface is really clean. This is what you get when you pull up the website for our curriculum library online. And that website is LIBS or eculehe.libib.com. So it's not too hard. You can bookmark it in your browser and pull it up. What you've got on this is something that is graphic, something that's searchable, something that's followable. And what I mean by that is if you're a patron, you can sign up, and if we wanted to send out a message about new resources or something, you could do that through here to anyone who's following our library. And it allows patron login. The big one for us here, I think, is searchable. Because if you look up here, there's a search bar right at the top, and you can search by title, by author, by subject. You can search by tags or keywords. There's also ways here that you can browse, and you can just visually browse. A lot of them, when they're cataloged, they pull up graphic representation. Some of them we still need to add graphics to them so that you can see what the book looks like. So if you remember, oh, it was that book with that little kid on the cover, and I wanted to look through there, you could just easily kind of scroll through and see if you could find it, alongside of all the other resources that we have. I'm going to stop for a second and ask if there are any questions before I move on. No? Keep going. All right.
That's great.
Tell me that address again. I need to make sure.
Yeah, we will get that on our
Yeah.
on our
And in fact,
website.
you can link it from your link it from the web page of the department, so that
I
you
think
get
that
to.
would be the most
It's
make the most sense.
ECULEHE dot LIBIB.com. ECULEHE.LIBIB.com. The last thing here, as you're typing that in and bookmarking it, is the patron login. This is something that I think is going to be useful to some people. Not everyone, of course, but to some people. And the question is, okay, this is great, but how do we use it? You all came here to learn how to use the system, and I appreciate that. So let's talk about that for a second. One way to use it is to download the app and log in. You can download an app on Apple, you can or on iTunes, you can download it on Android devices. You can so you have the app on your device, and you can log in. And if you are a patron, so if you're in the list of emails, and I'll just need a list of emails to add to this, if we can get that from someone, or maybe Amy, you can tell me who,
Yes.
who we need to add. If you're on that list, you can come on in here, type in your email, click Need Password. It'll generate a password for you and take you through a sign-in procedure so that you can become a signed-in patron. And once you are signed in as a patron, so anyone can browse the library. If you just went to that website, anyone can browse it. If you're signed in as a patron, though, you get some special capacities. You can search, but you can also place holds. So if someone wanted to take 7 copies of The Invention of Hugo Cabret, out for class, you could place a hold on 7 of those and then come in and pick them up the next day. Or you could even check them out via the app. We can, so you can go on and you can check out a few books and then come in here and grab them before class and go. So if you can check them out the night before if you wanted to. So that kind of eliminates that last minute rush as part of the patron app. There's another way to use it though, and that is the self-checkout kiosk. And this is right here. It's actually going to be right there as soon as we get electricity on that wall. But for right now today, it's over here. And the self-checkout kiosk is pretty simple. I'm going to go through some instructions for you, but it's going to make it a lot easier to check out books. I'm going to run through it with you and then actually allow you the opportunity to just go ahead and give it a try before we go. And as we do this, I want to just give you copies of instructions on how to do this. And we're going to post instructions by the self-checkout kiosk so anyone can do it. The first page just kind of goes through the parts of what you see on the screen. The second page goes through the process by which you would do it. So here's what you do. It's so easy. You wake up the iPad, you choose the kiosk app if it's not already up, you select the scan tool, you scan the books, you select checkout, you scan your card or enter your email. So everyone will have a card you can stick in the, if you have a lanyard or something with your one card, stick it in there. Scan that, and then check out. So it's as easy as buying something on Amazon. Just about. And so I want to walk through those things with you first of all. So waking up the iPad is just as simple as that. The app is already up on here, and I'll let you try it in a second. But if the app were not up, it's right here, right at the top of the screen. So it's not hard to get to. Once you choose the kiosk app, you select the scan tool. Now the scan tool is right up here. There's a little camera. You'll see there's different ways. If you wanted to type in the barcode, you could and hit add. But there's a little camera over in the corner. And if you hit that, it brings up a scanner.
At the grocery store.
Right, just like at the grocery store. And all you have to do once that scanner is up is to scan it, and then it's on your list. Now if you were to check out 2 copies of the same book, you can do that. So you have to hit the little camera each time, but that's the only thing. It'll let you check out 2 copies of that same book. If, in fact, you tried to check out the same book twice, though, it would tell you that that item is already checked out. So you can't do that. You can't double check out. But you can check out a whole list of books. So you get a, 10 books, 12 books, whatever you want, and they'll start appearing like a checkout list on Amazon. And I'm just going to scan a few more just to show you. Well, I realized while I was here, though, that I wanted to change something. I didn't actually want 2 copies of Hoot, so I'm going to get rid of the one that I didn't want to check out, and that's right there. I'm going to delete that one, and that's gone. So you can delete your whole cart if you really want to, but just for argument's sake, we've got this checked out to us now. And then when you're done with all of that, you find your card. I only have a few copies here. You find your card, and you press checkout down at the bottom. There's a place here where you can just enter your email. If you don't have your card with you, just put your email in, you're good to go. If you do have your card with you, again, just call up that scanner app, scan your QR, hit OK, checkout is completed. The books are now checked out. In 14 days, you're going to get an email that says bring them back, because you haven't checked out for 14 days. So a day or 2 before that, you'll get an email that says, you have some books due. If you brought them back in, though, if you just used them for class and brought them back in and stick them in the return book shelf, I'll check them back in and reshelve them, and that's all there is to do with that. So that's it. That's the process here, and the checkout is completed, and the kiosk is ready for the next person. Any questions about that?
Everybody will get one of those little cards.
Yeah, we'll print one out for everybody. Elizabeth, I didn't know you were coming, so I didn't print one out for you. Sorry.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Over in the library and on the second floor where the teacher resources are,
yeah.
do they have a little laminate
Yes,
machine?
we should
Can you get
laminate
that
these.
done?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have a small
have one?
laminating machine.
Oh.
So if you let me know about the cards, I can laminate them before
Okay.
they're handed
That's not
out.
a big job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Are
Well,
these unique, or this? So this is Amy's card.
yep, that
They're
QR
unique
code
the
is
user.
unique to you. So that
Or
on
patron
the
ID,
back
that's-
end of it, that patron ID is unique to you. So on the back end of it, in the system, I can see what books are checked out to whoever, and return them that way.
Oh, I see.
Or again, if there's a whole bunch of books that we can't find, we can figure out who had them and, send them a nice
Do
email
you
and
have a
say.
list of everybody so you'll know?
No, Amy's gonna
I'm
get
gonna
me a
get that
list,
for
so,
him.
but that, once we enter that list, then everyone will be in it, and we can draft an email and say, hey, we've got this new resource for the curriculum library,
Right.
Part-time folks.
here's how to sign in.
Yeah.
And as soon as they, and as soon as they go and request a password, they can sign in and go. And so that's our system.
It's wonderful that you can also just enter your email in if you don't have the card
Right.
with
Yeah.
you.
If you
as
don't
a
have the card.
backup plan.
So if I wanted to check out something else and I didn't bring my card with me, I could still do it exactly the same way. Each one of the books, I mentioned this, but each of the books that has a barcode has a unique barcode. So no two copies of Hoot are the same, or whatever. So they're all unique. And I want to check out, but I forgot my barcode. So I left that back in my office. And so all I have to do then is hit the checkout button the same way. I'll come over here so you can see me. And then just type in, and for me it's the McConnell J18 at students.ecu.edu, but for you it would be whatever. Type it in, hit OK, it's checked out to you in the same way. I won't put you through typing all that in.
Yeah. So it is faster with the barcode. But
It is a lot faster with the barcode, but it's faster to type your email in than running back to your
Yes,
office.
true,
So
true.
it offers you that. And if you lost your barcode or for some reason, you'd still have access to it.
There are three things that I can think of.
Okay?
One is we need to have a place for them to put them when they return them so they don't put them in the wrong place.
Right.
So we need to have a place or basket or a bin.
Well, we have a little one right
Okay,
now,
Right.
but
That's just something we need to think about.
we need to make it a little bit more
Right,
visual.
right.
Yeah, that's great.
Right, we need
Yeah.
to think about that. And then when they come and return them, do they scan the barcodes to return them and then put the books in the bin?
No, they
How
don't
would
have
that
to.
work?
They can just leave them in the bin.
Just leave them and
I'll
they'll be
just-
taken care of?
Yeah. So the other side of that, and this is the actual app that allows us to do the maintenance of the library and to add things and to do those sorts of things. There is a lending function here that if I wanted to check in books, I wanted to check this book back in. James McConnell brought it back and left it in the return books out there. All he would have to do is do that, and now it's checked back into the library. And so I would just take whatever pile is out in the return books, bring it in, check all the books in every shelf.
Okay. Another thing.
Yes.
Anybody that comes in or out of this room needs a one card, and not all of our, I don't know if all of our full-time faculty even have a one card, and our part-time faculty may not. So that's how they get in the room.
Yeah, that's how
The
you
main
do it.
room, because it's not like you can just go hand them a key and
Yeah.
right?
You need a one card.
One of the things that Kristen and I talked about, that we're trying to do is setting aside set hours each week that the room will be reserved for people who want to come in and get resources. And if that is the case and we get that approved, when I reserve the room, because it has a one card on it, it's reserved in our name,
It is
the
open
door will
during those
automatically
hours.
open. Yeah.
Have
they
you
won't-
found that to be the case?
Not last semester, but this semester Amy has made it so
Yeah.
that my one card opens it whenever.
Right.
But has it been open when it's reserved? Because she reserved the room for
It
you.
was not. It wasn't working, but I think that's because I'm a student and I have a student one card. I don't know.
Yeah,
if that's
that makes a difference too.
But I
Yeah.
thought you were saying if the room was reserved, then the door would be open.
Yes, that's a new,
Oh, okay.
yes, that is a new thing. So if we
Oh,
reserve the
okay.
room from, every Tuesday from 9 to 12 and every Thursday from 1 to 4,
It would be
the
open.
door would be unlocked.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean.
Because
I
it
think-
wasn't working for us last semester, or, well, we met in here a few
Yeah.
times because we were like,
And
Yeah,
then
it's-
there
Yes.
are 203s like that. When it's reserved, it opens. But
Yeah.
then
yes.
But there were some times that this room worked that way for me when I had other meetings in here that
Right.
just happened to be open, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure either, but I mean, that's a usability thing too, so I mean, we want people to be able
Right,
to
because
do
it'll,
that.
Access to the room.
yeah, I
Not
wanna
just the
make
resources,
sure.
but the room itself,
I mean,
yeah.
We,
The one card definitely opens it, and we've got to have a one card to get in the copy rooms. So I
Right.
think that a usability thing, because
Yeah.
I'm kind of hesitant about that door working.
do
That-
part-time folks have one
Some
class?
of our
Like Jen
part-time,
did that?
some of the part-time folks
Okay.
did get them.
They
Yeah.
need
They
to
were
get a
just-
one card to make sure that they have
Maybe that's a
access.
reason to encourage them to go ahead and get
I
one.
think so.
Well, and if they have it, they also, we also need to make sure that their one card can open it, because now that mine can, you know, whenever I
Yes.
come, but.
Yeah.
But you
And
have
that's a
magical
matter-
powers to
Yeah,
send
I
a
just have
request.
to
You
fill
can
out
do that.
paperwork.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
getting a one card doesn't make it open. You have to
Right,
have
you have to have
access.
clearance.
See, I didn't know
So,
that.
right,
Yeah.
right.
It gets
I
technical.
remember asking for clearance for graduate assistants in the past, and it's like she gave you clearance
Yep.
to get in here,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
And that works just fine, so I think,
maybe it works for faculty, maybe not part-time and GAs
Can we
automatically.
find that out?
It does work. I know it works for full-time faculty, but any GA, I have to fill out paperwork for.
What about part timers?
I think I have to fill out paperwork for part-timers too.
I mean, they probably wouldn't use them, but use the library,
Yeah.
but who knows? Like Jean, okay, how is Jean
Right.
categorized? Because she does use the library, and I don't know if
She's
she
probably
has
our most
access.
frequent
But,
patron.
yes, we need to make sure how,
I'll have to ask her
yeah.
because
I
she's
don't-
never come to me to ask me to open this door.
Okay, I don't know if she has a one card or not, but Jean is a big user, so we definitely need to try to figure this stuff out. And the other thing
Right.
that I think would be helpful, maybe is something that you could work on over the next few weeks. A video that we could kind of email out to faculty
Right.
of just the iPad
just a
process.
picture of this, like, this is
and-
what you
and
do.
you can narrate it
Yeah.
and just real quick that we could like put in an email and say, hey, watch this. This is how you check out things. Just
Like a
something
modified version
quick.
of what you did for us.
Just a very, just that last section.
Exactly.
Like,
Just
instruction.
that. I think that would be helpful.
He is going to be coming to our first
Okay.
department meeting.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll come on the 16th.
Do you? So do you? If he's going to do that, so I wasn't aware. Do you think we still need that little tutorial? It might be helpful because
I
I'm
would
worried
think
about
so.
if you're
On
not
the
here, how we're gonna.
I think it
There-
would still
there-
be good to make it for any new faculty
Yeah.
coming in. That way
Yeah.
we
Or
have
if
it.
people can't make it that meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
and
so.
there are, you know, on LIBS website, there are little walkthroughs that we could link to too if we want.
And I think on the
Okay,
video,
if that's already been done. Maybe it's not necessary, but it would. I think it's a great marketing tool, no matter what. So
To show
even,
people.
yeah, even
Yeah.
if it's not just
Great.
directly for
Right.
our folks that are here and the new folks coming in, but hey, look at this thing that we have. You know,
Yeah. How
Yeah.
easy.
here in our, it makes us look good. that
Absolutely,
we have
yeah.
this really
Yeah.
great little system. I mean, I know it's a really tiny room in our building, but I think it's still a feather in our cap that we might not have had in the past.
and in
so.
the video, one little thing I think we need to be clear on is the barcode to scan is the sticker,
Yes,
not the
back
barcode on the
one.
back.
Yes, that's
So we
right.
need to make sure
So-
that we say, hey, we have put a barcode on the book and it's
Thank
a white
you.
sticker. And we need to make
yeah,
sure that we scan that barcode and
Yeah.
not the one that's on the actual book on the back.
That's right, and
And I got that from
I intended to
this.
say that, and I didn't. I just
Yeah.
showed it, but I intended to say, yeah, everyone has the same looking barcode on the front. The scanner is under this corner, the kiosk, and so most of them are adjusted such that you can scan them. You know, the stickers are in the right place. If in fact the sticker had to be somewhere else because of the size of the book or something, you can scan it upside down, it doesn't matter. You can scan it sideways, I think, and it would still work. It's pretty quick and accurate scanner.
Did you use the app too? This is just a curiosity thing. Like, how did you create the barcodes and the stickers?
The
Was
barcodes-
that generated by the app? Or was
Yeah,
it
the
separate?
generate, so Libib will generate, as a pro user, you can generate discrete barcodes for all the, and the QR codes for the users and that sort of thing, so,
Okay.
yep. So now I just have to print out, 2,000 more barcodes.
Where did you print them out?
We have a little printer
For this?
for this. That was part of our technology purchase, so we have,
So how much was all that stuff? Around about.
Amy might know better than me.
I'd have to go look.
The key, the thing that holds the iPad was probably about 170.
Yeah.
The iPad was probably 3, 4.
It was just under 400.
About
I think we got it like
$400.
389 or something. Yeah.
And then the printer was inconsequential. I think it's $60 or something.
Yeah.
Compared to
You just
that.
buy label stickers.
So and then we buy the labels.
Yeah.
From Staples
From
or
Amazon.
wherever, from Amazon.
We
Does
got-
it have to be? I mean, it has to be special to go with that printer. Is it?
Yeah, I mean it's a Dymo printer and it's got a
Okay.
special kind of labels that you can
Right.
run through it, but
Yeah, I have a record.
but they're
of
widely
the labels.
available. They're
Okay.
it's Avery and Dymo are like
So
the
that's
two.
the only things we really had to buy.
Huh?
Mhm.
I'm like chomping at the bit. I want this in my office.
With
so
this
bad.
system?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
because
can do it.
I have so many books and I can't, I
Well,
they're not organized
and
and I
you-
can't keep up with them and then students take them and I lose them and
Yep.
then I can't find what I need to use for class, especially for face-to-face teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have all those problems you were talking about. I said it's just really.
It's just
me.
you. Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
that's
Not lots of patrons, just me.
but just you. But still, it will give you an idea of what you have too,
Yeah,
and
I'd be able to use
you
the
know,
materials more.
and a lot of it. And if you this is just completely beyond the scope of what we're doing here, but
Yeah, sorry.
but if you were an individual user, even a free user, and you have the app on your phone, you could just sit there with your collection of books and really like bleep, bleep, and most of them will come up copy cataloged into your,
Right.
so you don't have to add a whole lot of information.
Okay. I might play around with it.
It's worth doing. It's one of those things that it's like how dentists' kids always have cavities. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Like in my house, there are books.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old has been carrying around a Communist Manifesto for the last 4 weeks. Because she just unloads the bookshelf and just like carries around.
All right.
So it's either that or like Dostoevsky or something.
Perfect for her.
Perfect for her age level.
Yeah.
She's right there.
Interest.
Yeah, she's right there. Well, thank you for indulging us, and I hope that this is going to be a good solution for this library.
It
I
seems very promising.
think it's
Yes.
the most simple but powerful version of this that we could
Yeah.
look
I'm
for.
excited about it. I hope to see an increase in, well, I guess we don't really know what our circulation was before, but
We don't, but we
I
can
think
find
it
out.
will. Yeah, now we'll know, and I
Yeah.
think it'll be wonderful if people feel that they can use it more.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think if people are encouraged to use it and it's easy to use, people will use it.
Right,
Right.
I agree.
So,
And then we
Yeah.
can keep up with things. I like the idea of being able to have access to statistics and,
yeah,
frequently materials are being checked out. I think that'll really help us make decisions in the future too.
yeah. If we see there's just a lot of use in the picture books and not in the chapters or vice versa, or the levels. If some of them haven't been checked out in 5 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then why are
We'll
we
know-
still keeping them?
we'll know which ones we can weed and.
Right.
Right.
Um,
This just popped into my head. So if you are not done with the research after 2 weeks, can you renew?
You can.
Or do you have to
If
return?
if you're logged in on the website as a patron or whatever, you get the email. You can just renew it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to come back up here to do that.
No, you don't. You can
do
just
that
renew
from
it
you.
remotely. The
Okay.
reason that's on there is really just as a reminder to say, oh, you have some books. If someone got some
Right.
books and they had them sitting around their office and forgot to bring them back, that's just a reminder
Right.
to say, hey, there's 3 or 4 books that belong in the curriculum library, and we think you still have them.
Exactly.
Cool.
Thank you.
Again,
so
thank you.
much. Thank you.